Professor, what's another name for pirate treasure?
I don't know.
Well, I call it booty. Booty.
We have a skunk problem. Skunks come and spray in or near our yard all the time.
I've noticed a lot of the Build-A-Bear stuff has stains on it, which you normally with dolls.
Well, bears are messy. Hi, and welcome to our What Sold video for September 15th through 21st, where we will go over every item that we sold across multiple reselling platforms for our business. Let's dive in. All right, the first thing that we sold was a Poshmark sale. This was a Disney Pixar Toy Story 20th anniversary T-Rex figure. And we got that in a thrift store toy bag. We paid just 26 cents for it. It sold for $8 plus shipping on Poshmark.
Is that a little bitty?
Was that a little green one?
Little bitty one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next up was a genuine HP inkjet cartridge. It was new in the box. It was expired. It expired in October 2023, so we did disclose that right in the title. This was gifted to us to sell, and we had no cost. It sold for $15.99. I do find that HP ink sells really well, and I know that they were threatening for a while to make it impossible to use aftermarket ink in their printers, like to put some kind of chip in there or something where it would only recognize genuine HP ink. I don't know if they actually rolled that out or if that helps HP ink sell, but HP ink does sell really well if it's genuine. Okay, next up was a vintage Brooks Optics stainless steel fast fill developing tank for photography. We got this at a church rummage sale. We paid $1 for it, and it sold for $50 even.
Nice.
Next up was a vintage compact 2-button wire corded mouse. And we got that at a garage sale for 75 cents. It sold for $11.99.
I remember that garage sale. It's where we got the card sliders.
The credit card things. Next up was a Randall Cunningham football card. This came from Kevin's collection. It was a Bowman's Best Black card. And that sold, actually it was 4 of them, 4 of the exact same cards. And they sold for $13.64. Next up was a Livin' the Country Life magazine, and it was just a single magazine. We had gotten it for free from somebody who was giving away magazines. It sold for $9.99. And oh my gosh, did you see that cute cat out there?
Mm-mm.
It was like a little kitten. It was so cute, little walking by our yard.
I mean, we're in the middle of a city, and this is like Snow White's forest around here. We have so many animals.
We have a skunk problem. Skunks come and spray in or near our yard all the time.
on the road over here yesterday, I saw a dead skunk.
Oh.
So one of them got hit by a car.
Wow.
I feel bad.
I can't say I'm disappointed
skunks.
About that because that skunk stinks up this place.
I love all animals.
At the end of this video, stay tuned and you can see our dog. And he got sprayed by a skunk that lives in this neighborhood and then ran in through the dog door. And we were woken up by the smell of the skunk. It smelled so bad.
Filled the whole house.
It was awful, and it took months for the smell to dissipate. But we have now been shaving him into his own little skunk stripe ever since then because we feel like he earned it.
Is that when I started doing it?
Yeah, that's when we started doing it. So,
I gave him a skunk stripe a long time ago, and then, now he just gets it all the time.
He does. We think he looks really cool.
He looks pretty tough.
Let us know what you think of his his shave job. It's a whole
It makes
job.
him happy. He gets so happy when he gets it shaved like that. So
he loves it.
Yeah.
All right. I did want to mention on the magazines, this is like kind of going back for a second, but that for a long time, we were selling magazines for pretty decent profit because we were getting them for free, but the cost of shipping has gone up so much and people just aren't willing to pay enough for magazines anymore. And there's just not much profit in them. So we are going to, when we do our inventory in January, which is when we do it every year, I think we're going to take out all of our individual magazines that are priced at less than $10 and just get rid of them. Next up was a Union Bay men's pullover sweater. It had a stripe pattern on it. We got this from the Facebook Marketplace Garbage Bags of Clothes. If you have watched our channel for a while, you know exactly what that is.
This is like a 3-year-old bag of clothes.
Yeah, and we paid 67 cents an item from those bags. That sweater sold for only $9.68, but we have made tons of money on those garbage bags. Okay, next up was a OEM Sanyo power supply AC adapter cord. And we got that at a church rummage sale from a big box of just random electric cords and electrical equipment, plugs and chargers and things like that. And that has also paid off. We paid 27 cents for that, and it sold for $12.79.
I'd say if you can ever get a big box of like cords and chargers for like $5, it's worth it.
Yeah.
There'll be something in there that you'll make money on.
Definitely. And they're easy to list.
Very
easy to ship.
list. Yeah.
Next up was a vintage Marcrest Daisy Dot stoneware coffee mug. We got several pieces from this set at a church rummage sale, and we had, I think this is the last one. I think we've sold out of them. We paid $2 for it, and it sold for $14.99.
I don't remember what that one looked like.
It was like dark brown, and it had little embossed daisies all around it with polka dots. But it was all brown. It was just,
it's not ringing a bell.
Next up was a vintage 1989 lot of 2 Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade buttons that said the Joneses are coming. This was the one with
Sean Connery
in it. And
Junior.
Anyway, that I think was probably like a movie giveaway, a theater giveaway or something like that. And we got those in a big bag of like random buttons and pins and lanyards and stuff from our thrift store. We paid 22 cents for those, and they sold for $14.18. Next up was a lot of 3 men's 40 by 30 khaki and beige chino pants. They were all different brands. We got a bunch of pants from a family member, and we lotted several of them together in lots according to size. And we've done that multiple times, and men's pants sell really well that way, especially if they have really minor flaws or something like that.
Lot of men's pants lots lately.
A lot of lots?
A lot of lots lately.
We have. Yeah, they've been selling well. So
I know, as a guy, I understand if I want some 40 by 30 pants, I just like, oh, good, 3 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to go looking for them.
So those we had no cost with because they were gifted to us, and they sold for $22.
And we're giving somebody a really good deal on
for
pants,
sure. Yeah. So. Next up was a Jones, New York men's black leather sport coat. We got that also gifted to us from friends and family. We had no cost, and it sold for $31.
Oh, that was the one that looked like a Run DMC coat.
It did.
Yeah.
It was maybe for a Run DMC costume.
I'm thinking it's for a Run DMC costume because it was just like a Run DMC coat.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty tricky to get
it
that out the door,
It was tricky. You'd have to find the hat and the t-shirt and some Adidas. That's all you really need. Boom.
Wait, my Adidas?
Well, preferably your Adidas. Wearing someone else's Adidas, you could get a foot fungus or something. I wouldn't recommend it.
Next up was a Build-A-Bear workshop tiny tees and underwear 5-piece outfit. It did have a flaw on it, which is why it says read. I think it had some staining. We try to disclose any flaws or any issues right in the title. We use sometimes the word read if it's more than something we can include in the title, or we'll use the word flaws, or I'll even put stains or try to put exactly what the issue is in the title, because a lot of buyers do not read the descriptions. Heads up on that. So we got this at a garage sale for $1, and it sold for $17.99.
I've noticed a lot of the Build-A-Bear stuff has stains on it, which you normally with dolls.
Well, bears are messy.
You're like, it's all the honey. They look like dolls, little kids playing with them. It's going to have stains. I get it. But Build-A-Bear, it's more like everyone I've seen who collects it's like a middle-aged woman who collects Build-A-Bear. So how are they getting stains on the bears?
Probably from kids.
Maybe
and probably
so.
from kids taking it to the dinner table and stuff.
Okay. I understand kids are going to, if it was a kid's, it's going to be stained. But it just Build-A-Bear just doesn't seem like a little kid thing.
But maybe the middle-aged women are taking it to the dinner table too.
I don't know.
All right. Next up was a Gideon Pocket Bible in the color brown. We got this at the thrift store for 24 cents, and it sold for $9 even.
Like I said the last time, if it's a solid color, old Gideon Bible, they'll sell.
Next up was a Casio keyboard. This was a really large one. It was like...
It was big.
Like bigger than my arm, bigger than the screen. So we got that at a garage sale for $40. It worked and everything, but it didn't have a stand or anything like that. It was very heavy, it would have been extremely difficult to ship, but I knew that I could make a profit on it. So we sold it locally through Facebook Marketplace, and that was for $80. And of course, when you sell locally on Facebook Marketplace, there are no fees.
Yeah.
So, although I did hear something, when was that I heard that Facebook Marketplace might be instituting fees on local pickups, but then I never heard anything after. So I don't know if that was just
then they'll have no purpose anymore.
Yeah, because we used to ship stuff on Facebook Marketplace, but like nobody buys anything from us anymore. So I just quit cross-listing to that app. Nothing sells unless it's local. Next up was an 8-piece lot of infant toys. It included rattles, a mirror, a little crinkle book. These were all found in a thrift store toy bag. We paid just 19 cents for them, and they only sold for $12.68. This listing had been up for a really long time, so we put it on clearance.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't feel bad about that when it's especially stuff like that for a baby.
Yeah.
Because they're probably really needing a deal on some baby toys.
For sure.
And this was all, again, I've said before, toy bag dross.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't want this stuff. It was just in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, win-win.
Next up was a women's sports bra, and it had like a dog paw pattern all over it, or animal paw pattern all over it. We got this from the Via Trading box that we got, and it sold for $10.25. Next up was a 2008 Hot Wheels fire station from the Red Raceway Fire Station playset. And we got this at a garage sale for just 25 cents. It sold for $15.98. A lot of Hot Wheels playset stuff will sell fast, so we try to pick it up for the right price. Next up was 2 strings of Ashland Halloween pumpkin and ghost lights. They did have a few that were missing, like the plastic cover on the lights, but for the most part they worked and they were in really good condition. So that's why it says read in the title. We got these at the thrift store for 51 cents, and they sold for $20 even.
Were those the ones that looked like little blow molds?
Yeah, but they were different kind of plastic.
I'm just saying,
it
looked like a little.
Yeah. Next up was a Sprocket Racing Joe Rocket men's black leather padded motorcycle jacket. It says read in the title because when we first picked it up, it had a pretty heavy smoke scent on it, cigarette smoke scent, and then it was missing some of the padding on the inside.
Yeah, some of the armor pieces on the inside were missing.
Yeah. So we held on to it for a while and just left it hanging in open air, and the smokiness dissipated almost completely.
For like a year.
Yeah.
For a long time.
For a long time. It dissipated almost completely, but not totally. But we did disclose that right in the listing. That's why the title says read, and we had paid $15 for this at a garage sale. We sold it to somebody for $110 and got really good feedback on that. They said it didn't even smell, despite us saying that it did, and they were really happy with the deal.
We're very sensitive to smoke smell.
Yeah.
So
next up was a brand new in package kids play set. It was called the Dig Team Pirate Dig Site. And it was something where you dug for pirate treasure or something. This was gifted to us to sell. We had no cost, not an item we would typically pick up, but it was new in the package. We listed it and it sold for $15. So,
Professor, what's another name for pirate treasure?
I don't know.
Well, I call it booty. Booty.
What's that?
Beastie Boys.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't know that.
I know. You left me hanging.
I know.
I was like, she's going to get this. She's going to be like, booty. Booty.
I can't believe I didn't get
She
that.
didn't get it. I'm so disappointed.
I'm disappointed too. I didn't get it.
I think it's off of Paul's Boutique.
It is off of Paul's Boutique. I was going to a place where I was like, it's a joke, and I'm supposed to think of what the joke is.
No, I was just rhyming.
Yeah. Next up was a greatest hits cassette from 10cc.
Who I love. I love that band.
And we tested it and it worked. This came from the thrift store for 13 cents and it sold for $9.58.
I just picked that one up because I love 10cc. I'm like, well, somebody else is going to love it.
All right, next up was a Puppet Company pink baby monster hand puppet with a squeaker in it. We got this at a garage sale where we bought an entire bin of plush and puppets. We paid 50 cents per piece from that, and this one sold for $20.
That was a good bin.
It was. Next up was a vintage 1996 Ruby's Costumes Wizard of Oz Cowardly Lion's Badge of Courage. It was brand new in the package. We got this at the thrift store for 70 cents and it sold for $14.99. Next up was a pair of Allen Edmonds shoes. This is a brand you definitely want to be on the lookout for. These were black leather Oxfords, and we got these at a garage sale for $10. They sold really fast for $45 even. Next up was a vintage 80s or 90s Mattel Barbie doll pair of black closed-toe pointed shoes. These were gifted to us from the Barbie bag, and they sold for $12.99. Next up was a really random toy that came from a toy bag at the thrift store. We paid 22 cents for it. It was a Marky Sparky Doinkit yellow and purple magnetic kids safe dart. And this was just a single replacement dart. And that sold for $7.44. Next up was an Old Navy women's charcoal and black geometric knot Y-back athletic tank top. We got this at a garage sale for $1. I have no idea why we would have picked this up.
I don't either, and we had that thing forever.
Yeah, because normally Old Navy is not a brand that we pick up, so I don't know if this was an accident or with a lot.
I'm going to say it probably came with some other stuff, and we just got it accidentally or unintentionally.
Yeah, but it did sell eventually on Poshmark for $13 plus shipping, so we made some decent profit on it.
Yeah, I mean, $7 is pretty good.
Next up was a 6-disc CD set. It was new in the package, and it was called Effective Negotiating by Dr. Chester L. Carras. This was gifted to us to sell, and it sold for $16.99. And they didn't even try to negotiate a lower price with us.
No, they did. I mean,
they obviously
really need that set because they didn't try.
They didn't.
They didn't make us an offer or anything. They just took it.
Yep. Next up was a lot of 12 love-inspired inspirational romance paperback books. Most of them had like kind of a cowboy theme, so I did include that in the title. These were gifted to us to sell. We had no cost, and they sold super fast for $34.99. Next up was a Magic the Gathering card. This was Kevin's, and it was from the Legends set. It was called Arcade's Sabbath. This,
I think it's Arcades.
Oh, okay.
Arcade's Sabbath. I don't know if that's how you say it or not, but I think it's Arcades.
Okay. So that sold for $89.99.
That was a good one.
Next up was a pair of women's Skechers hiking boots. We got these at a thrift store in a neighboring town. We paid $10.84 for them, and they sold for $35 on Poshmark.
We had those a while too.
Yeah. Next up was a limited edition signed and numbered print by the artist Larry Dyke. And this came from the other business that we own, which is a custom picture frame shop. And it sold for $62.99. Next up was a vintage Oneida silver plate soup spoon. It was monogrammed with the letter F. This was actually one of Kevin's spoons that he acquired somehow, and we weren't using anymore, so we had no cost on this, and it sold for $9.99.
If you've ever been a bachelor, I mean, I had a drawer full of spoons,
Like
just random single spoons. What do you need a set for? I'm only using one at a time.
Yeah, and it said, what did the F stand for?
I don't know. If that was mine, then I probably got it where I used to work. They would have sample sales and just get random stuff. That's probably where I got it.
All right, next up was a Gracie Barra Jiu-Jitsu youth size jacket. It was a really nice one. This was gifted to us to sell. We had no cost, and it sold super fast for $35.
Anytime you see those jiu-jitsu gis, especially if it's a Gracie Barra, like a real name, pick it up.
Yeah, sporting equipment is a good category for the most part too.
Yeah, but I'm saying but in jiu-jitsu stuff, Gracie.
Yeah.
Look for that name.
Next up was a 1992 Donruss Diamond Kings baseball card for the player Jay Bell. This was Kevin's, and it sold for $2.29. Next up was a vintage 1960s tourist map of London. This came from the garage sale box of maps. We paid 9 cents a piece for the maps. This one sold for $14.99.
Good feedback on that one. I remember specifically.
Next up was a vintage Roper brand women's cotton white button-up Western shirt. It had like a horse and mountain scene on it.
Oh, yeah.
It did have a little bit of staining on it, so we did include that right in the title. This came from a Philibag church rummage sale for 42 cents, and it sold for $20 plus shipping on Poshmark.
Nice.
Next up was a vintage mid-century modern pair of 2 brass mallard duck head bookends. We found these in the bins, and they were just in a bag full of like kind of some random duck items, I think. And we paid $2.26 for them. They sold for $23. Brass stuff sells really well.
Always.
Next up was a vintage pair of Old Navy women's mauve shimmer twill jogger pants. These were gifted to us to sell. We had no cost, and they sold for $19.98. Next up was a vintage 1982 Warner Brothers metal lap TV tray. It had a Bugs Bunny "What's Up, Doc" image on it. It was in really good condition. We got this at a garage sale where we got a lot of really cool stuff. This will be upcoming in a video soon, and we paid $1 for this. It sold for $27.98, and we got the nicest feedback on this.
Great feedback.
They basically said like it was in so much better condition than we had expressed, and they were so pleased with it. They were happy with the shipping and everything, and
it looked new.
Yeah, it did.
It really
look new,
did look
but
new.
I never put something as like new unless
it actually has
is
a tag
actually
or something.
like pristine or something. But first of all, you can't describe anything as like new in the title. That's against eBay policy. But if you describe it as like new in the item condition details or item description, I feel like that's just setting you up for somebody to say, oh, there's a tiny flaw that you didn't disclose, or there's a tiny flaw and it doesn't look new or something. I just feel like it is always better to underpromise and overdeliver. And that you have seen throughout this video that we always include something in the title like read or flaw or stained right in the title to make sure that the buyer sees that, and do not skimp on describing flaws. I would say be more picky than you would normally be and describe every single flaw that you can find, because a buyer is much more likely to leave you negative or neutral feedback or return the item if there was something that they didn't expect. So I'll just say always underpromise and overdeliver. That is definitely a theme of what we do here, and it results in happy buyers. Next up was a vintage 1950s Vogue Jan doll, and she had shoes, and I think she had a dress too, didn't she?
That one I think was naked.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember expressly. But
I think I came and put a dress on her later, and then we had to retake the
I think when I
pictures.
took the pictures originally, it was just shoes and naked doll, which was a little weird. But yeah, you might have found an outfit.
Yeah, I think I did.
In the meantime.
But one of the shoes had a flaw on it, so we did disclose that. This was gifted to us to sell. It was in the Barbie bag, and we had no cost. It sold for $29.45, and that sold fast. Next up was a pair of women's yellow mesh crotchless panties.
Oh yeah, those.
These were new with tags. These were sourced by a family member. They knew that like weird stuff sells, so they gave them to us, and they sold for $14, and they sold like within a day. All right, well, that wraps up our sales for this week. Let's go over the totals. The total number of sales was 43.
It's a lot.
Our average sale price was $24.76.
About average.
And our sales totaled $1,064.79 for a net profit of $592.43.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, it's not quite that $100 a day still, but it's close.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new. If you did, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button with the notification bell on, and that will let YouTube know that this is content that you enjoy and that other people might enjoy. Thanks again for joining, and we will catch you on the flip side.